Gold and amber.
Right, everybody, welcome back. Episode 4 of the G&T show. This podcast is a little bit different. This one is all about psychedelic drugs. No one talks about it, but we are.
So we just decided to do this topic because we've seen on a lot of podcasts that not a lot of people would bring it up. Like it's a very touchy subject that people don't talk about, and it's just we just got the two lads in here just kind of share experiences and stuff like that, just to let the viewers know what it's really fully about and just to get rid of the whole perception of the whole thing.
Now, we're not promoting. We're not telling you to walk and do psychedelics.
Disclaimer, we're not promoting drugs, but
Zero.
we just want to give people more information.
We want you to know exactly what goes down and what doesn't. The negatives, the positives, what shit you're getting in and what shit you should be getting in.
Exactly.
So, we're sitting here with Mark Hayes and Andrew Byrne. Well experienced lads in the psychedelic industry. They don't sell it as rats. Know what you're thinking.
Don't tell me.
Play Road Wars and blow his face out. give him a little voice. Alright, Darnell. No, well, anyway, psychedelic. So, lads, Glenn has the questions.
I have the roll call here. So, right, so basically the way it's going to work is I'm going to ask two of you a question, and you're going to float back from each other. Just save the whole bullshit of cutting across each other and all. Like me and you are very fond of that, aren't we? Or cutting across each other.
We love it.
We love it, yeah. So, Mark, have you done psychedelic drugs before?
100%.
100%, right? Okay, right. And Andrew, have you done psychedelic drugs before? Okay, right. So, Mark, so introduce yourself to the audience.
My name's Mark.
Right.
I'm ginger, as you can see. Play a lot of sport as yourself, so I'm a hoarder. I mean, obviously grew up like everyone else.
Yeah.
Something more too, I'm just a red Egypt.
Red Egypt, right?
So you're ready. So basically, you're a normal lad.
You're a very smart Red Egypt.
Yeah, sure.
So basically, obviously, you play sport, you have a job, and you're not basically a hippie as everyone who does.
That's a usual psychedelic person. Not everyone's a hippie who do psychedelics, people.
And Andrew, so tell me about yourself. I'll tell the people about yourself.
I'm Andrew.
Day one, innit?
I am, yeah. Back in the day, I'm
He's been on the beat together.
only, say, quarter ginger.
Like myself, eh?
Come to the camera, Sean Byrne. Come to the camera. Come to the camera.
I'm trying to get it twisted out. Once I twist it,
You're going to apply for Go Compare with that thing.
Right, so.
I'm a barber. I'm skateboarding. I'm not a hippie.
You're not a hippie.
I'm sound, I'm not a hippie.
No, you're
Anyone
not
has an
so.
issue.
You really are so. So, that's right. So, obviously, have you done psychedelic drugs in your lifetime?
They have.
Okay, and Andrew, you've done psychedelics.
I have, yeah.
Okay, so, Mark, maybe get into this. What was your first experience of psychedelic drugs like?
And then the kingdom come the dam.
The dance.
So
So tell us about it. Like, what did you do? And
So it was a few years ago, obviously, yeah.
That's alright, mate.
So we're in the dam, me and my brother, and we just tried truffles. You've probably heard them before. You've definitely tried them before.
I have, yes.
truffles,
Yeah, twice. Triple J, I've done the Triple J.
right?
Have you?
No, I've never touched.
Glenn has never done psychedelic drugs. I have. I've done them twice
I
now, so
did
that.
them once, but I don't think I did them correctly. Because since I was more experienced in LSD, I got the strongest ones. Someone who I'm not going to say got
12, eh?
Bukali,
A bit of Irish fighters, yeah?
So one of them was intelligent, and it was their first time doing truffles, so they did the smart thing. They got the lowest dose you could get. I got the strongest, because that's who I am as a person, and I'm stupid. But I'm more experienced in another psychedelic that's a bit stronger than that. So I thought I could handle it, which I did, and it wasn't a problem. Beneficial, beautiful it was, great experience.
Lovely.
And then Bukali B, he got the second last strongest. So he got the ones that were a tier below me. And then what we did was, since we were all well versed enough, like, we all split them into thirds. So I did a third of the lowest dose, second strongest, and the strongest. So it kind of evened itself out in a sense. You know?
So in terms, so that's
Kinda, yeah,
in terms of strongest.
Truffle.
What way does strongest work? Does it go by mg? Does it go by?
Yeah. So you got grams, and truffles it's grams. So the only difference between dried mushrooms, right? One's grown overground, which is the dried mushrooms.
So the mushrooms are in the ground.
Yeah, so it's in the
Right, the mushrooms are on the ground, yeah?
How the ones you're eating are coming from the ground?
No, like as I said, I don't know any of this.
Truffles, right? And mushrooms, but they're ground differently. So mushrooms are ground overground.
Okay,
Truffles are ground underground.
right.
So that's why truffles in the dam are in the bag. If you bag,
Yeah, vacuum bags, yeah.
They don't look like mushrooms. They
Psychedelic.
look like balls of muck, right? And they taste like balls of muck,
Yeah,
right?
they do.
The thing is different. So the truffles, the higher quality, you need loads of them, right?
Right.
But it's only equates to like say you get a box of 22 grams in the lamb or 18 grams. So the 18 grams is equivalent to about 2.5 grams of dried mushrooms. Whereas the 22 gram box is about 3.5 grams of mushrooms, dried mushrooms. And dried mushrooms is like, so the dose in them goes away, so you have a threshold dose. So you have 0.25 grams when you start feeding something, you don't trip. That's a microdose. The pure grams, isn't it?
Yeah, true.
Right.
Yeah.
When I open this, I'm winding, but
So,
This is why we're here, isn't it?
and this is exactly why, like as I said, I'm listening to you now and I'm looking at you're talking truffles and stuff.
you're looking at me like you're gonna
This is all new to me. This is all new to me, and this is why I want to get you on to kind of
This way.
educate myself and all.
no,
like,
but
exactly.
this is just me looking it up, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the only reason I don't like. Went to damn took them. You obviously learned about it before. You have to look them up, boys. Like I wouldn't go in.
That's what we didn't.
It's not that we went in like looking to find something from using them. We just like knew from the first time trying them was like this is deadly. Like the boys you're on, just so happy, you know.
And then
And then after that, I looked into it more.
So what about your first trip? Tell us about
So
it.
we had damn and yeah. So we got like so in the dam there's 5 boxes you can get.
okay,
So, like there's like mountain rocks. So I don't know.
Mountain rocks.
Not that-
Hoi
that's just
Hawaiians
mountain
and all
rocks. Yeah,
this.
no, Hoi
Yeah.
Hawaiians are
Did
the
you try to
strongest.
blow your head with
So the
that?
thing is, right, the way they judge it, this is absolutely comical, right? So the way they judge it, the way they judge it on the boxes, right? So the boxes right this way, it's 22 grams, right? That's the weight you get. That's the
Okay.
highest. That's the most quantity you get in a box.
So is this like the strongest of what Andrew was just
So
talking
now the
about?
Hoi Hawaiians is 1 to 5. So
Okay.
5, there's only 5 strengths, right?
Right.
But the way they measure the strength on the box is a picture of a planet, right? And right, so half a planet is really the lowest dose of mushrooms, so the lowest strength, right? There's 5 planets in the fucking box, yeah. Right? And the Hoi Hawaiians are 5.5 platinum planets that are silver. That's I'm not even joking.
Limited
Hoi
edition
Hawaiians sand on them.
No,
Okay.
and this that's
like-
gas.
I think they send you soybeans in a deadly way. Do you know what I mean?
Because the first time we went in, right, got them, yeah.
They're not helpful now. Like,
Man,
they
yeah,
don't
man,
deal with
it's
it
like going into
themselves.
Argos, right? But it's like I went, that was like going into Decathlon, right? I walked into Decathlon, I went to Decathlon, this is the second one. And as we did them before, and your man basically said, oh, you whips out a catalogue, like it was Argos. There you go, pick the toys you want. Yeah, it's like, boom, laminated, right?
What? Whereabouts in
In Amsterdam.
No,
They-
whereabouts in the dam was this? My fella wasn't like that.
This was
want that
like
fella.
the Euro spare, this was.
Yeah,
right?
they're like crackers out
And
of
then
the
he
house,
puts the laminated thing out, and then you go to him, well, you've done them before. But after you do a set, your tolerance builds up.
Yeah, so the way
So did you say you did them yesterday?
No, I did them the first time went down, but the second
Right.
time I got there with him, my tolerance was already a little bit
That
high.
would fuck
Because
you
I
that way,
done,
I went 2 trips.
Because if you do one
I went
trip down,
to Amsterdam once,
Right.
came back to early, then I went again on another holiday,
Yeah, and done.
yeah.
doing them again the second time.
Yeah, tolerance dissipates in 24 hours.
I didn't know that, your man was saying this to me, you think your man thought I was fucked
So hold
already?
on, you went to, hold on.
You went away the strongest without
Yeah,
knowing.
but listen to this
Obviously,
story, I'll
probably.
tell you this.
So you went away on 2 separate trips,
Yeah, I did them each time I went.
and the first time you done your trip,
A little bit, yeah.
and the second time you didn't at all.
Second time I did, listen to my story again, right?
Sorry.
So he whips out the laminated book, like a genie, as you said. He and I goes, what watch do you want? This one. But then he'll go, right, what's this one like? You know, it's a little bit strong, but you can float around and have a good time and all this.
Say that about all of them.
They could have gave me fucking hash, right? They could have gave me heroin, I don't know. But anyway, then he goes, I go, right, I'll go with them. And I go, what do you think? He goes, chase the dragon, brother. And I'm looking at him like, what? And the person I was with was like, what? And then we were like,
The man in Argos told you to take the chance.
he just said, chase. He goes, chase the dragon with this. And I gave him the money. And then on the way out, he says, fizzy orange, fizzy orange. And I didn't know if it was Tommy or Hayden.
This actually wouldn't do.
I'm not winning you.
So what,
And
so what
then,
does Fizzy Orange do?
fizzy orange calms down.
Well, so-
that's
so-
what I said before about sugar.
So
Yeah.
Fizzy Orange calms down. So let's say you took it. He
Have you
got
been to
up-
Amsterdam? Have you been to
But
Amsterdam?
this fucker made me chase the dragon.
Bro, I haven't been to Amsterdam. I haven't done any of this.
He hasn't been to Amsterdam.
problem.
But this is why I want to have his on to discuss this.
Domino's don't even deliver to his house. He lives in Darndale.
Right. Anyway, let's get this. Andrew, I want to hear about your first trip.
My first one was different because it was LSD, it wasn't shrooms.
Okay, so obviously
Yeah.
for the viewers who don't know, see mushrooms are mushrooms. You get them in the ground, overhand, underhand. With like Mark was already saying,
Yeah.
LSD is a form of
Yeah,
acid.
it's
Nah, it's not a form.
lysergic.
Isn't that no?
But
It's
the
not a form,
LSD,
it's not acid.
lysergic, something with an S. Sorry, I should have my homework. I said dynamite or something like that. It was created in where was it?
It was
created in
created-
America.
it was
I think
it was created in a lab. It was-
50s or
it was-
60s.
Albert Hoffman.
And
Yeah,
and
and,
I heard this now. I don't mean
Still on his
research.
hand, he was cycling down the road and out of nowhere.
Yeah, he got
The
he,
visual effects
he
of
accidentally
it, yeah.
got it into his eye.
Oh, his
And he
eye,
sta-
was
and
it?
he
That's
accidentally got now.
Jesus.
Now obviously I didn't do it
But he
before.
didn't know though. He didn't know. He didn't know it was
I think
psychedelic.
he was
He
trying to make
put it
something
his
for
eye and he was
pregnancy or
seeing
something.
shit.
Yeah.
So then the next day then he drank it, and then he started seeing all the shit. And he was like, oh,
No way.
yeah, now this is what I mean, boys. I never done this before. But before I got you on, I had to do
That's
my
deadly,
research
because we drank it though.
because your man actually. He had it in his eye. He started seeing a load of funky shit. This is LSD.
Yeah.
Right? Now I didn't know about shroom, but
Yeah,
LSD started seeing shit. Right. So the next day he said, "Fuck this." Yeah, man, Hoffman, the scientist, drank it, and then he was like, "Right, I might be onto groundbreaking stuff here." And then they started doing research then how it cured mental
That's
health.
already done. You went in a cycle. It's a national.
It's called Boy School Day. Boy School Day. Boy School Day is named after LSD. It's something like that.
No,
Yeah,
it is
it's-
20 bucks day after 420, you would. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. So anyway, sorry, we're going for a trip here. So you're first.
Yeah, so my one, I did my homework on LSD, but now any drug, research. You know,
Exactly.
make sure you know what you're getting yourself into.
Yeah,
Because
totally, mates.
if you are dealing with demons in your day-to-day life and you do a drug and someone says to you, "Oh, I did this and it worked out brilliant for me," just because someone said that it worked for them doesn't mean it's going to make you happier or benefit you in any way.
Exactly.
Maybe something happened to you a few months ago you haven't gotten over yet, or maybe there's something in your life, or if you have an anxiety disorder or whatever, be aware of that.
Of course.
Like take smaller dosage of that. And I was like, right, I don't have anything wrong with me, family's good, everyone's fresh, I'm grand, lovely.
Lovely.
So I'm gonna do half a tab instead of doing a tenth of a tab, and 2/10 of a tab, 3/10 or whatever. So I was like, right, I'll do half. When I did half of it, it was where was I now? I was in the park and we were on the way to a friend's house because they're all having a few Mary Janes, you know, chill out for a few, and then one of the lads was like, "Yeah, here I'm after." I finally got a hold of your man who said he could get them in ship them in from I think it was Holland or something.
Wasn't your man Chase the Dragon the Argos, was it?
No, it wasn't him. No,
It wasn't Argos.
Oh, it was that.
He
He's
got
got
sacked
sex now.
Well, catch that cunt. I think he was shopping in the shop.
Nice fella.
Yeah.
Seems nice.
Yeah.
But so I took half a tab and I went onto the back of my mate's bike. Hot man buzz.
Boy
I
School
wasn't
Day.
tripping while I was on the thing though. It takes 2 hours usually for the hit you, or 1.5 hours on the stomach or something. like that.
No.
Yeah, that's when you start feeling a bit funky. And I was in my mate's house and I was sitting down on a couch and I thought that the window was open to my right hand side because the curtains that were there started going like, he started waving as if wind was on them, and I was like, and my mate, Buckley, different story, was sitting beside me and he was like, I was like, that's alright.
The boys seen the same thing.
Yeah, and then my mate came in, Buckley, C. Okay, yeah, and there's another fella who was just down, he was just trip sitters basically, those two were. And he came in.
Which pair trip sitters?
Yeah, he trip sitters. Yeah,
Okay.
usually.
People
First time.
that want it.
Yeah, YouTube said
Because you have to.
Yeah, trip sitters.
Anyway, sorry.
They're the real
Very
heroes.
important.
Yeah.
Very important.
They're the real heroes.
Yeah. Serious heroes.
It's not.
Because when you are in a very, very high dose trip and you are literally looking at a TV and there's a dragon coming through a TV, like in real time, you believe that the dragon is there. Like psychedelics can be very strong for a small amount of time, but it's gone after like an hour or two and you're grand. And you can kind of unwind.
And tell me, what else did you see?
There was like a flower kind of pattern on the behind the TV. I was watching TV and I was like, "God, the TV's nice, la colours." Wasn't getting any visuals or anything from it. But since it was half a stamp, like that's in UG, a full stamp's 100 UG, half a stamp's 50 UG. Keep in mind that one stamp can be like 250 UG. You have to ask the fella who's selling it to you. If he knows what he's selling, keep that person on your contacts, because some people will just say, "Oh, it's one tab," and you're like, "What's that?" It's like, "Oh, some fella told me it's 100 UG, you got to pass down." Only people who I would buy LSD off of people who either are very, very, very consistent with constant same UG, like, because you don't want to think you're doing one
So
and you're
what's
doing
UG?
2.5.
Millionth
UG
of a
is
gram.
like, what's that?
It's a millionth of a gram. The way you measure it on
Fucking
yeah.
hell.
So
It is a liquid,
so it's
oh,
paper
yeah,
at the
makes
bottom
sense.
of lost it, yeah. So you drop it on blotch paper, and the blotch you drop it. That's all you need, like, to drop in your tongue. Like literally a drop. onto paper and you take the stamp.
I've never seen it.
Brilliant.
So
There's
you can
people who stamp.
Yeah.
That's
Bit of investment in the time, yeah.
And now you're in a strip for 12 hours.
Yeah, pretty much.
Jesus.
Like,
That's
there's
a
a big
big
massive
job.
square them. They put it into like a big square petri dish, and then they basically get the thing, they just soak it in it, put a thing over it, and it goes into that, whatever the fuck they do. But then take it out after time, and all the the stamps basically, it's like the same texture as a stamp almost.
Yeah.
You then fold that if you're selling it. If you're, I don't know, if you're some drug dealer,
You shouldn't be touching it as much.
yeah,
Because
definitely.
then touch it,
Wearing
you wipe it
gloves
off.
and all
Yeah,
that.
you wipe it after, you can wipe it off touching it, don't you?
So like positive.
If you do that, you scratch your eye. Oh my god.
So, Marky boy, tell us about your first trip in detail.
You're
What
sweating to get this.
What you seen? No, it's like we know what you took. You obviously talk about the whatever, like the planets.
So you
and
go
stuff.
off on a Sunday, so it's deadly. It's
Just
deadly, but
tell us what you saw, what you felt,
right.
what you ate.
So in the damn me, bro, took them. We took the.
You and Boy A.
Man, nah, I don't want that play insane, I'm not.
Doesn't matter. No,
I didn't hear it.
You said that earlier, actually.
Ah,
yeah.
my brother, don't know the boys.
Ah,
Yeah. So we went to a coffee shop. Yeah, we got them out of a shop because it's all just as you walk around the dam, you just see little signs, a little mushroom on them. It's gas.
Yeah, it's like Mario Kart, isn't it?
I think it's the tank it's called. The tank it's called.
Oh,
So you go in there, right? These people are
no,
like
that's
specialised in it. So they're not specialised, but they have I mean all sorts like on the walls, like sativa, like salvia. Have you ever heard of all that? Like this is all mad stuff. You smoke it, it's mad. That's nuts. I'm sorry. So it's on the wall now. You have they explain everything. You have sections. You can read about everything, right? So we went up and we got the mid. So as I was saying, there's 5. Me we got the third one in. I think it was like 3 planets or something. Yeah, 3.5 planets. So I think they call it the Dragon's Dynamite or something. Chasing there, right? So we cooked them, whatever, ate them and all. We're like, oh, we eat them on an empty stomach. Can we eat them on an empty stomach? Your body has nothing to resist. When so you break them down straight away, so you're tripping within half an hour.
That's what the Argos do,
You know what I mean? That's what happens. So you eat before them.
Right.
But I've eaten before them and got sick in the zoo, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
In front of other people, so it's a bit nuts. Don't go eating and go in the zoo as well. Not unless you have to, aim for it, do you know what I mean? The zoo's sick.
So
That's it was mad.
So
Walking to the doors and the monkeys are
But
chilling.
that's sick in the zoo, like it's straight away and I walked in, absolutely deep, neck deep in tripping. Before
what did
I walked in and nearly got sick and like there was thousands of people around lads and I just got sick in the middle of the zoo. Up against a tree, heaving. All these cows, right? And like the thing about the shrooms is you just have like extreme confidence, right? This is before trip today, so I was on the tree where I looked after about 20 minutes.
Everyone thought you were gorilla.
Puking my fingerprints, like messages. Looked up and I was like, right, looked up and I just stared at every single person in the eyes of them. Look at that. And I started smiling. I just seen everyone that was rich just wham themselves in the dam. They were all just crying laughing. It was like, this is the best trip of my life. That's like the whole holiday, do you know what I mean? Usually that man embarrassed. I walked up, stood up and I was like,
How are you
ready
getting
for
that?
rock like this. That's not even forcing me, so me and brother went down. And we had them, so this is how like the feeling of it coming up, I think feeling, it comes from your feet up.
Okay.
So like it's real warm. I mean, you know when you do a little bit of blade and healthy and all that like that. Like your word and all, this is so welcoming. Like you forget you have to eat them sometimes. Like if I think if you're anxious about it, you're like constantly waiting, looking around for it. Like me and Boy A went right. 4 of us went before, yeah.
Yeah.
And one of me and the lads went off, and we went down. The two of them stayed in the hotel. I thought about their apologies or something. I don't know what they did. Anyway, so me and one of the lads went off, and he took his. We went and got to me. He took his right. His hitting in straight away. I was walking back to the hotel. So what's the late style? This is like you walk around and the hood and all. We get into the hotel and said that. And the elevator, no, I was like, what the? Was it this hotel? I was like, oh, this is it now. I'm breathing my heavy now. This is the end of the first trip.
Do you know something? You could feel your breath. You could.
Do you know you're
hear
more
your
conscious? So it's like when you take mushrooms, you get like the first thing that hits is visual acuity. It's called. So you start seeing something HD. HD. Yeah. So you're like mad looking at everything. Like when I was first time looking around, people do that. Like people I go do all this, and your hands get caught to get traced exactly. So that's why everyone does that. Right, just look at my hands and your fingerprints are moving them. It's nuts. It's mad.
Your fingerprints are moving.
That's it's like your hand, little grills in your hand.
You're seeing your skin cells.
That thing you were on about the tracing.
Die and repair
The
themselves.
second time I done it, I was in the coffee shop sitting there.
Everyone's
And your one strong cocktail, making cocktail as he's trying them, and I just
dodging them and all like that.
she's doing 8 with them and all, and the song Pump It Up was on, and the speaker was coming and trying to dodge the speaker and everything. Mad.
Shadowbox the speaker.
Did you hear music or
Yeah.
see the music?
Heard
Saw what you were
heard
doing,
it,
sort of
and I
thing.
seen it.
Yeah, no, yeah. 100%.
So it wasn't together. It was different times. So the minute you see now,
that's what psychedelics can do to you. Like, and you can hear, you can see sound and all that stuff.
Frequency.
Like, you can see, like, you can hear colours and all. That's what I mean. Like when you're like, there's certain levels of doses that so many people have taken these. Like Terence McKenna, he's considered a hippie. This fella's like taking 12 grams of mushrooms, like this,
heroic dose.
like nuts, like heroic dose is 5 the same, but the different strengths people take.
Yeah.
So microdose is like a quarter of a gram. You take it like so, it's like you get all the beneficial side of it, of all the confidence and the straightforward thinking. You think of yourself, you're so confident walking around, and then after that you go like you start tripping a bit. So you go from that 0.25, a microdose is 0.4 to 0.5. And then you go up from that as a gram and a half, 2, 2.5, 3. Most of it taking is 3.5, so like 3.5 is rough of dried shrooms, but you can't go higher. I've actually, see when I got sick in the gym, I had my own box, and the people I was with didn't eat all this, so we ate all this as well.
I nearly had
like 2.5, like nearly 2 boxes, box and 3/4. That's why I got sick. So
You
just
really
don't do that. But I was just thinking, because I've done them before, like I'm deadly. That's the thing about the other guy, I can handle it.
Yeah.
But it wasn't even that I was tripping hard, but it was dead. It was a little trip. It was like, I got sick, like, do you know what I mean?
Could they just
That's like I'll never forget
Would
that.
that
I'll
just
never forget
work,
that.
yeah.
Like, it's not even that it's bad, it's kind of just like, why did they do that?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Probably would have got sick anyway, but however, do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
shouldn't have them.
You learn from it.
So let me ask you this, Andrew. Right. So, what do you use psychedelic drugs for? How often? And what is the purpose that you do them for?
How I'll answer that question is not why or how. It's more what am I feeling? What stage am I in my life, sort of thing. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
What opportunities you can get from it? Is
Exactly.
it kind of?
Yeah, you can get completely different insights from your own subconscious mind without realizing. Your mind with your ego, how it works normally is. With ego, a lot of people, he's very egotistical. He's very full of himself, very this, very that.
I'm known for having
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
well, you're gorgeous, so I can't blame you. But
Yeah.
when it comes to
Frank.
some people are just really like completely
Real
like,
about it.
about themselves, like they don't have any time for anyone. Narcissistic in a sense, if you will. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You give a narcissist like shrooms or something, they'll look at themselves in the mirror. You know what I mean? And be like,
And that's considered a bad
shit. You know,
Yeah.
I've been shit for so long.
Yeah.
Change your life.
Yeah. So how
Yeah.
how often would you use them?
I haven't. When was the last?
See, it's not how often. It's
Last
when
time
you
I
need
did
it.
shrooms was like 2 years ago or something. I didn't, probably a year ago maybe. I don't even remember. I don't even know when the last time I went to Amsterdam was, to be honest. But
So-
the last time I did a psychedelic was in Amsterdam.
So basically, the reason why you done it is just when you felt like the time was right, kind of thing.
Yeah, like the first time I went to Amsterdam, I didn't want to do the shrooms just because I had a bad experience with a high dose of LSD before going to Amsterdam. So I was like, right, bit of anxiety, whatever, a bit of this and that, and I was like, I'm not going to go into
You
a
don't wanna
shroom
aggravate
trip
it.
on
You
anxiety
don't wanna
because
aggravate it,
I
yeah.
already knew that like that's just not a good idea.
Yeah.
you know
Because
what I mean?
I've heard of a lot of people that say like who go to Amsterdam and they take edibles and they get scared like. Oh, like
See, edibles are weird though.
See, like, but this kind of we're
They're
gonna
two
just
different
cover
things.
Yeah,
one
it's
big
more
topic.
psychosis basically from
Yeah, you get one.
Yeah,
like,
that just gets such a bad name though after that. Like,
Yeah, exactly,
Like,
yeah.
I'm never going to the time again. Like, you want to get out of this.
Exactly.
That's what people think that
You took
psychedelics
too much, you
are.
didn't do the
But
research.
it's not even
that's
that.
all it
Some
is.
people genuinely can't handle an edible. So like, but the thing is, that's weird and like a weird in the mushroom is so different. Like,
So you're trying to say. So you're trying to say that edibles.
You can be stoned all you want and just fall asleep. But like, there's no hope you're falling asleep after shrooms.
That's
Or
what
else-
I know. Yeah.
Like, it's not about that, you know. It's not about you take a mushroom, you chill down, and fall asleep. There's no
Yeah,
way.
yeah.
around it.
Yeah.
You might sit there with your eyes closed, but you're just like,
You're
it's not the same as being stoned or anything.
Yeah,
Everything's
So,
enhanced.
so
on the
basically, edibles and mushrooms.
Are completely
Completely different.
separate.
I know. So
Like,
so
genuinely.
taking for the viewers here, right?
Yeah.
So people who are going to Amsterdam and they're taking edibles or they're taking a brownie, there's like the perception
But
would
like
be.
some people, like I've talked to people who are like, oh, that man, I'm taking an edible and I'm feeling tripping. That's fair enough. That's just your response, your individual response. I mean,
Yeah.
your reaction to it. Like I genuinely eating so many like weird edibles at the end. Like there's nothing compared to a trip. Like I've eaten.
That's
That's what I expected the first time I done an edible. I expected what yours.
No, yeah, like you're absolutely
not.
sound now. Like we are, like you're falling asleep though, and you're eating. Like after we are not like you're not tripping. Is like you're walking around
enhanced.
and you're thanking people for nothing. Like you're genuinely saying you're being the manners you have. Like you're completely out of yourself. I think eating it.
Oh, I know.
Like,
You can't fall asleep on them because you do notice, even if you try to chill out, you're noticing your breathing, everything, you're noticing.
When you're like seeing people in coffee shops now just sitting there like in the dam, genuinely just in the dam in the park tripping. Doesn't be self, like, I mean, in the park on time. Dead it was, but like, you see plenty of people doing it.
Yeah.
And people just lying down with their eyes closed. Like some people just link that to that and say, right, that's all, I don't want to be doing that now in the middle of the park now. But the thing is about shrooms, like you eat them and like some people get genuinely embarrassed down in the park, sitting down there, or you think tripping, right? Or doing anything sometimes in a foreign country or whatever, just to play safe, for instance. Like when you eat the shrooms, you genuinely out yourself. So you're sitting there and like, I don't care what's going on around me, I'm so happy. Like, all I need is now, all I am is here now. Like it's completely different. It seemed like for anyone going over and taking the shrooms the first time, like I would just go over it, like take the lowest dose of your first one doing it. Take, like if you think you're able for it, still take a little, like a low dose. Don't go mad because you're ruining it for yourself. Like, do you know what I mean? You go over there and eat them. Say if you went over there for the first time, like I wouldn't go in and be like, yeah, Daddy, you know what they're talking to 2 pigs about, like psychedelics.
I mean,
you know what I mean? You blame Blade, you know, Margaret, you blame me and Andy. Go over and actually do, like, genuinely, like, I just want to have a little buzz, see what they like. Yeah. And try something like, because it's like, honest to God, like, you'll genuinely be like, the guys I remember walking around with them, just being like, why haven't we been walking around and feel like this at all, ever in my life? Because you like, as I was saying, you start seeing stuff and you start hallucinating, right? Hallucinations are different than like your senses being, right? It's like you hear more and stuff like that. But you walk around, like, see what I was saying, you see your hands moving. Like, it's not as if you got new eyes that they took the mushrooms. You're genuinely looking at your hand, like, the same eyes you had before. So the mindset you get from it is kind of like, why am they acting like this all the time? So that's when the shrooms wear off. Like, the psychedelics, what am I trying to say? The psychedelics had the potential to change your life for 6 months of the rest, like change your personality for 6 months of the rest of life. That's what I've done. That's what I've read. That's what I've done. Okay. So I've been like, right, they leave something behind. Like, do you know what I mean? So you're left for you're left for something being like, why am they acting like that? Like you're walking around the land, like I remember walking around the land, like just genuinely chatting to people, telling people that story is dead, you know, not something like I'm not even, like, we wouldn't even be embarrassed.
Say that a lot to me.
I know people should do that, but why don't we? Like, why doesn't people do that in general? Like, why doesn't, if you like,
I think I've been more like that since I started.
Like, more out down, I actually don't care, like, what I think to me, just coming up and being new.
He's down to what you said at the start, you're more confident. I went to pre-me with them on me. I was at the rim, we system about 4 hours. We went to pre-me and they have the scanners in pre-me. And I go to a man here, we're not robbing a bank. Right, walking by him and he just looked at me. And but like, you don't think, you just think everyone's the same.
I think that's grand. The thing is, he shouldn't have a problem with you saying that.
But he didn't, he laughed, do you know what I mean?
But you were there worried about it, like after you, like, you know, we shouldn't even be worried about that.
So basically, Mark, right, is this, so what you're trying to say is that's your, like, so, like, basically, like, the question that I asked, Andy, is that the reason, is that your motive why you do psychedelic drugs?
Yeah, like, I would have done them like a week ago, within a week ago.
Okay.
A low half a gram of vanilla chocolate.
Okay.
But like, that to me is just like genuinely just for like I've done this so many times that I can't say that I use it for, like, you're supposed to have intention taking them. But I think now I just like learn, like, say for instance, you know, like, not a problem, say if you've thought in your head, you want to kind of figure it out. Like, obviously you should do it yourself, but I would just use psychedelics. Like, if I'm like, decisions to make, I'm like, right, go on a little trip or something on a day off or something on a Sunday. After swimming the beach, I would just like, no way, like, then you kind of like, the day after, it's like, you're just betting yourself. Now, obviously you should be doing that sober, whatever way you should be doing it normally, without any input. But like, I just that's why it was.
It works for you.
It genuinely works for me, because I'm just like, they build, like, I'd say the experiences I've had have created who I am now. I mean, being with talking to people, the way I react to things, decisions making throughout the day, discipline, habits, like, the whole different, see in sports now. Like, I genuinely took a year out, because I probably with shoulders, right? I want to break some shoulders. So I took a year out of hurdling and stuff like that, like, as I said on my words, so I took a year out because I was afraid to play. I didn't want to dampen the team. Do you know what I mean? Okay. So I'm like that, when I was like, that year, well, the year I took out was kind of, my head was all over the place. So like, that, like, last summer I would have went to the mountains, went camping, took psychedelics. And after that, I've been just like, what am I at the doing? And it's not even like saying to yourself, you're a tick, you're just kind of like, where are you at? I mean, it's not how you're living, like, it's not just how you're living, like, what are you at, what are you doing? Like, it's not, like, some people are afraid of psychedelics for no reason. Because just because they're afraid to be out of control of what's going on.
I think it's important to say though, that works for you. That may not work for everyone.
No, absolutely.
But as you said, the only way to find out is start small.
Start small. If you do want to try it, look it up and like genuinely
research into it.
Look at CBD. Think of CBD. People used to fucking hate weed. Imagine saying to your mom when you're 18 and smoke weed. So you think you're like, well, you'll be on the fucking heroin.
It's mad. It's actually mad.
That's just society's.
Yeah, because the thing is,
that's the old.
Years ago, people have held on to it. A lot of hash was replaced with heroin, and there was a massive heroin pandemic in Ireland. Have you seen the streets? Like, that's the fear that our parents have when you tell them you're going to the Amsterdam, you're doing this, you're doing that, and your whole life you're listening to your parents. But when you do a trip, you realise you know, you're actually thinking of everything. You're thinking of, like, if you go into intent to better understand yourself. I remember I was sitting down by the beach before I went to the cinema tripping. It was great, it was. Unbelievable trip.
In the cinema?
Yeah, but beforehand I made sure I went to the beach, good place, a safe place.
Okay.
Setting with psychedelics is important. If you're in Amsterdam, it's a good place to do it in the start. Now you're with 4 of your mates and you've one of them sober. You know what I mean? If not,
Wouldn't be bad.
if you can all do it, that's just being smart about it. Like if someone's really, really paranoid about it, like if you're really, really paranoid, maybe you should be the tripster.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Okay, right. And
Just wait for it.
then just to go back to yourself then, right? Has the use of psychedelics, has it impacted your life? Has it impacted like your job? Has it impacted your sport or anything like that?
100%.
In what way?
Like,
In
genuinely,
a positive way?
It's more now, like don't get me wrong, you take them and it's not all playing steady. Like when it's kicking in, say for instance, you take like the others going on again. But see when you take the first time, it's kind of like when it hits you, it's like you're a bit anxious. I'm not even gonna lie with you. And I'm not an anxious person one bit. Like genuinely wouldn't be one bit. Would be fiddling around here now, but I'm genuinely calm, laid back. Wouldn't be worried about things much. I'm like when you like it is. It's not like you should start small whenever you're doing that. Like the way it impacted me is because I was like when you're like when I took them in the dam, they came home and had a championship match. I think it was something like that. Championship 2 or 3 weeks. And I just felt like I'm ready to rock. Like, it's not even like I'm fit and confident I'm gonna smash everything up. It's just like I feel so comfortable in myself. I'm willing to do anything. Like, so I don't feel
comfortable.
It's like kind of freedom. Like, do you know what I mean?
Okay.
It's like, I don't know what it is.
Only way
It's actually hard to
explain
explain.
it would be, what's the last thing you think of before you sleep? Do you exhaust yourself to go to sleep, or do you think yourself to sleep? Having a psychedelic trip is like, all that is gone, because you've thought about it in your own soul, you know what I mean? You were talking to your inner child. Your inner child is like how you view things, you know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, this is a nice short, like you're spoiling now, you know? You feel like a kid again.
So it's
You know that kid-like happiness when you go to the playground, you're playing, kicking a ball around. That is what a psychedelic experience is like. You have that, but then you have like, you know, look at that, goose is all over the buzz. Because it's a real thing, man. It's a real thing.
And that's when you get across to
You
people.
feel it. And then you do a psychedelic trip and then you go to sleep and you're like, you know, you're revisiting your thoughts, whatever, if you're not exhausted or you don't have to work to studies or whatever. But with a psychedelic trip, it's like, I already thought that out. That is out of my control. Why am I thinking about that? You know, it's just like, yeah, fuck off, and then you go to sleep.
Is that true about acid though? It can stick to your spine.
I don't even know.
I
have had a few.
Like man, I've heard and like I've been told plenty of times that man needs to stick this one as well. Like obviously, I don't know how it actually does work, but it does somehow or another it does kind of stay in your body, as it does. And I can give you an acid attack.
I've heard
like that's true.
Yeah,
Hey, I was tripping again.
That's happened to me now.
I've heard cases where-
It happens to me sometimes.
I've heard cases that people have like genuinely developed disabilities over it now. Like acid's not one to mess with. I think right personally, mushrooms are not, I wouldn't say completely safe for everyone. Like mushrooms have zero toxicity, which means they don't damage
Straight
your body.
from the ground,
They
man.
don't damage your
Straight
body
from the
one bit.
They won't
Like,
kill you.
no, they. Do you know what the overdose is? 2,000 grams of microdose. Like 2,000 grams of mushrooms. Dried mushrooms is an overdose. Like you'd never ever recover from that. I don't think. Obviously, as it says overdose. What do you mean? Like I don't know if that would kill you. I don't know if it would kill you. But see, even 1,000 grams, 100 grams of mushrooms. Anything over 10 grams, you'd be on a mad bus. Like genuinely, you don't need that much. Like that's how put into consideration. Think how much sniff you'd need in order to have a bang. Some people probably come near to the beat on the weekends, you know what I mean?
10,000
Right?
grams, yeah.
And then like thinking of mushrooms, that's the difference. Like your body breaks them down immediately, and they don't leave out behind them. You get me?
Yeah, no, but that's good to know because
Well, what did you even ask me?
about acid staying in your system.
Yeah, so that's the thing. Acid is supposedly, because it's synthetic, it's been created by man. Yeah, mushrooms have been around longer than humans have been.
That's the truth.
So that's the thing. Like, so that's the difference. It's completely different. LSD is synthetic. So that's why it stays in your body, because it's not natural.
Made in a lab.
Mushrooms are within it, without your body, without your system, 24 hours.
Do you think they should be legal?
For
medical use.
It's not even
Be
that.
criminalised at least. They grow on the ground. They don't have to be
I don't-
marketed on or
I don't see
capitalised by
tomatoes
government.
illegal, yeah.
No, exactly. Like, they're not gonna fucking kill it.
Snow's illegal.
Mushrooms don't kill you either, as you
No,
said.
I know that, but you can't. You wouldn't eat mushrooms on a daily basis because you can't. Be.
I mean,
Yeah.
we can have CBD, the exact same thing that cannabis is made. But yeah, I have to buy weed off someone who is feeding into a black market economy where people are getting shot up and whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But when you look at Portugal, they have their drugs completely decriminalised.
Yeah.
You know, all the money that they used on fighting weed and all these other drugs that everyone's gonna do regardless of it. It's always gonna be there. Why not decriminalise it? Marketalize or capitalise, whatever it is, like weed, hash, sell it in shops, create jobs. Anybody who was originally being arrested for that, I mean, like a drug dealer will get more time than a murderer or a paedophile or a rapist, Where the fuck is the logic in that?
So I have one here, just as I was doing my research, like I said before I got you on the show, I done my research on it, and like as I said, I'm impartial to all this, I haven't touched any psychedelic, right? So LSD, remember we were talking about earlier on about your man Hoffman? So what happened was, obviously when he drank it, he was like, right, we might be on something here. And they were using that to treat patients that were suffering with mental health. Do you find that like taking LSD impacts your mental health in a good way or a bad way?
Both.
Let's change. Let's talk about the negative.
Every single time I did LSD, I felt absolutely brilliant.
Okay.
The first time, as I said beforehand, if you do psychedelics, setting's important. Make sure you're with people, make sure there's a trip there, etc. Heaviest dose of LSD I did was about, I think it was a stamp and a half. But it was one of those stamps where it was like a bit more than 100 UG. Average stamp is usually 125 maybe. Okay. I think this was like 150 or something, so I had like, all in all, half one of those, 75. Just over 200 UG, so 2 stamps basically. But what happened to me was, I didn't know the setting, the location it was, my first time ever being there. The setting was a place I've also never been before, and there wasn't a trips there or anything like that. There was another person taking the exact same amount as me, or the same amount as me. That went bad because as I had it and I put it on my tongue, like I was like, oh shit, setting. I always have that in my head, setting. I was like, and then I didn't even realise setting until I took it out, and I was like that. But then that was too late. Things already bleeding. So I was like, I was going into the trip after realising I shouldn't be going into the trip, and I was like, oh shit, I'm in for a bad one. And it was a bad one. And I won't go into detail of why it was a bad one. It was just fucking weird.
That's the commitment though, you know what I mean? The guy can ask the serious, but as the commitment.
And how
like genuinely,
Tiger jumped out the TV.
Like, not a joke. Mushrooms are so welcoming. It's like genuine. It's like yeah, come on, not daddy. As like, right, yeah, come on.
Get in the car.
Acid grabs you and you're just gone for 12 hours. Like, I'm not even being a tick. Like, some people might have a different experience than me, but I noticed, anyone that I've done it with, we have all had a great buzz. But like, I've been around people that haven't. I've been asking where is their relatives now? Like, where, like, it's like they're waiting for you at home. Like, you know what I mean? Stuff like that, right? Like, you can be in there. Like, that trip is a commitment. You're not like, not that you're not coming out of it. You won't be normal again for 12 hours.
Pretty much.
And I wouldn't even say 12. I'd say 14 because like it sticks around. That's the buzz, isn't it? The buzz. You wake up next day, you're not acid. You're not tripping. But you're like, you're on a different level. You're like a different person.
You need to sit down and have 3 cups of tea and think about what's.
But like, I was like taking it and working on for it. You know what I mean? In past jobs.
The cat's out of the bag.
I can say my job, don't I?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
But don't walk there anyway. So like I walk around and look at us, and I always took too much. I was walking around like the shells and all, milk and all, and just like that. So but like I genuinely, like I'm a bit of a weirdo because I went up the mountains, picked my own before, eating too much and been like left in the mountain in the dark and in the rain now. Like, I love that, but it sounds nuts, but I genuinely do that. Like look, because I have like an interest in picking them, right? I pick them and stuff like that. You can't pick them. Like, certain time of the year. So we go picking them and like not that I intend to go up there and get stuck in the mountain, not stuck in the mountain, but like caught in the rain, it's dark, it's getting proper dark and the mountain there's no lights there, like pitch black. You know, you walk around like blade, like it's heavy that. So we were like getting home, getting on top of the mountain, I was like tripping, looking around and
like wasted on GTA.
It was like blade, it was mad that getting more dark. I had to run down. It was like half an hour before I was down from the top of the mountain to the bottom to get a lift. I made half an hour and was in the car tripping next to it, like some fella that excuses this from where you get chopped off. So sitting there beside me, just like that. Yeah, how was that day? Something absolutely burning years off and like hard on your hand when I got out and I was happy as Larry, but it was like being nearly caught in the mountain, you know, stuff like that. That's what the mushrooms make you feel like. But that's the bad side because I was proper worried. I was like, what am I doing here now? What am I doing? I kept saying to myself, I don't talk to myself, like, you know, like some people we genuinely wouldn't. And but it was just like out loud, what am I doing here? And that just that feeds off itself then you're in the head and like,
That's down to the set, isn't it, really?
Yeah, but that's the thing, like psychedelics aren't
You don't like the sitting room, go out the back garden.
like you wouldn't
That's
need
it.
them at a party, like I'm doing it for, but I wouldn't do it, like I wouldn't genuinely go and eat the high dose going to a party or something like that.
You'd be
That's
saying
just
it's
me,
power.
because no, you'd be just like, you'd start looking around and just staring at people like for ages. And because I was saying with the eye contact before, it's like, that's what one thing it brought on me is being able to look people in the eye more. And now I'm like,
So you never did, like you never.
not that I wouldn't have, I'd just been like,
You can
I
see
can
it more,
no,
yeah.
I can just tune, like, not that tune in, but obviously like you just look, you're supposed to look people in the eye, but I noticed that I've
You
more
felt-
comfortable with.
You look
Yeah.
more at the
Some
people's
people do,
souls.
yeah.
Look at the people, like, you look at people in the eye, but
Yeah.
I'm just like, man, like, it's not, some people like, you're like, oh shit, look at me.
People are looking at you like this.
Yeah.
You're alright, fellas, yeah.
That's the crack.
I noticed that with you,
Like
actually.
that,
Yeah.
no, but you're just like looking, like that's the one thing I told me, like that's genuinely why, like, I wouldn't recommend it to everyone because like you hear all these stories in the telly that's and all these videos on YouTube, people are like jumping out windows now, like there's
The same
literally
thing
propaganda
with
for
weed. The
years.
same thing with
Yeah,
weed.
yeah. But see the thing, like that's again weird and thing are different though. Like, do you know what I mean? 100%.
It's marriage when the fella smokes a joint, it's like a little kid. The dog's like, I don't like when you get high. When I was down there, I saw my dog, I'd be
Never
big,
seen
hugging
that.
and stuff.
All the ads
Oh
from years
my
ago.
god.
I
Hilarious.
just have to have a look at all them.
Oh, no,
But
actually,
how much the culture hive was using? The culture hive is a documentary on YouTube, and it's honestly the most educational thing I've watched about the way the government must psychedelics everything.
There you go. Check it out.
propaganda doesn't
The
exist
culture
anymore.
hive. The culture
Watch,
hive.
Culture
watch the G&T show on YouTube, then watch the culture.
Right, so Culture High, check it out, YouTube, for your own knowledge, because what we talk about, don't just take our word from it, do take the boys in and listen to the boys. Lads, I have a question for you about the system. Do you think kids should be taught about psychedelics at an early age and brought up through secondary school, and maybe if they had a choice to be made, do a small dosage of it?
Introduced to it. I wouldn't
Yeah,
say
teenager,
push it, no.
yeah.
I wouldn't even.
That's what I mean, we touch off the subject.
No, obviously, but I wouldn't say definitely be taught. I think you should be that whole spiritual aspect, that whole lot, meditation and all, yoga, all that stuff is coming. It's actually in fashion now, like 100%. Loads of people doing all that.
So
You've been doing a lot of meditation, haven't you, on the beach?
I think we haven't done it in a while now, but we've done it plenty of times, like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying I'm an advocate for meditation, I genuinely, I just think that doesn't do as much, do you know what I mean? Wait.
You keep going,
Oh,
I think everyone meditates in their own way.
I know,
Meditate
some
before you go to
people
bed,
do.
before you get
Yeah.
yourself in the zone.
Yeah.
Like, you was doing your buzz in a few weeks now, you know, doing a fucking athlon.
triathlon.
An athlon.
Not long. But yeah, so what you were saying there, like, so does meditation and psychedelics come hand in hand?
They both affect your mind. So,
They can.
You think they can be a powerful thing together?
yeah, I think the mind in general as a whole should be taught. As a thing.
Exactly.
Mindset.
Yes.
Mindset should be genuinely the top of the list. The way you feel inside should be the only thing. Should be the first thing top skills.
Yeah.
About manners and
That's-
about how to react to
absolutely.
situations.
Then attention, go to a fucking meditation.
And how the brain works and
Yeah.
visuals. And
They
stuff.
can learn all this biology, but like the stuff in school is all just gets you a job more. Like, do you know what I
But
mean?
even at that, you don't get a job after school. You're not
But that's just
guaranteed.
down to other people. Do you know what I mean? That's just down to people. Like, obviously.
But there is sense which we should be doing.
Some people never went to school and have great jobs. Some stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, like, definitely, if skills obviously the big one, obviously a big thing, like, it's skill, like, I mean,
Yeah.
Change
So,
education.
like,
change the world.
I think if you
Right.
filter into that, you'll genuinely change the world down there.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
wouldn't do
I
it, like,
wouldn't,
genuinely
I wouldn't say make it a leaving cert or something, but even
No,
like,
no,
in
no.
transition
It
years,
should be
4
easier,
years,
so-
yeah,
You shouldn't be
yeah.
tested on
Yeah.
that. You shouldn't be. I mean, maybe you should be like questioned on the safety side of it. Like, she should be like, "Oh, what shouldn't you do?"
Same thing
Yeah, but
with
I think
sex.
if you
Where
know
should we go?
someone, if you start doing that in first year, I think by fourth or fifth year, the teachers have a rough idea where this person is at mindset wise.
Yeah, no, you genuinely.
So there is
get
no
it.
need for testing, but the likes of PE being there, you don't get tested on that. Bring in a mindset class.
Yeah.
Religion's going out of fashion, get rid of that. You don't even do the
Yeah,
exam
yeah,
anymore.
Yeah.
Fuck that out the window.
And
And
mindset,
bring in
mindset
mindset.
exam being like, how ask yourself how you feel. Like, no.
Actually
Yeah.
talk.
No, actually, be like, stop.
Religion
how
ain't
it's-
religion, like, it's fucking history.
Well,
But there's
mindset-
a prophet behind it,
Yeah.
so I guess it sounds so good.
Like, society's horrible now, the way it is, like, the way everything's on, like, social media and all that. So, genuinely, like,
Yeah.
I'm flat on Instagram, obviously, everyone is, like, something, but I'm not saying everyone, but, like, most people are
Yeah.
annoyed of it.
yeah.
It's just the way we've been raised, like, I mean.
You're comparing yourself 24/7.
Yeah, but like,
Yeah.
I mean, that's why Shroud's going to just give you, like, put the phone down.
Different outlook completely.
Well, psychedelics and the whole thing of mindset of meditation, and all, they all change the way you look at the world. It's not about you should be taught on this. It's like once you do them, you're gonna have to be a better person. Like, not saying automatically, but you might have a downfall from it. But eventually, I think, like, see where you can have a trip and you can go on, like you can be for a few weeks you can be, I feel deadly. Then a few weeks you be like, oh, where am I going now? You can actually be, that's happened to me before, like, plenty of times, like you can be on a deadly buzz, real confident now, and then a few weeks you're actually overthinking stuff.
Okay.
Like, where am I actually at? Where am I going?
No longer in that flow
You know what I
state.
mean?
Sort of
Yeah,
thing.
they kind of, it's kind of like, you know, you got to the peak of it, and you're like, alright, if these questions aren't that, and like, how do we even explain it?
That's what meditation will come into. You're
Yeah,
over,
you need
you're
to
over.
quiet the mind.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
when you take the shrooms, you're kind of on the next day, like, alright, where am I going? Like straight away,
So
next
what
few-
do I do with all this information?
next few days, like
Yeah.
I'm so confident, I know what I'm doing, like, and then a few weeks later, like, oh, I still haven't made a decision. Like, kind of caught up in it.
Yeah.
You already planted the seed and you haven't answered the seed. So that's why shrooms. That's why every all psychedelic should be. You genuinely need to take them with an intention.
As it works differently for everyone.
Yeah,
That works
exactly.
for you.
You shouldn't just do it.
And like you can actually get mushrooms in Ireland.
Well, I wouldn't say illegally.
You wouldn't get them legally, but
They grow.
there is places
They
in
grow
Ireland.
around the world. Like. They grow.
That's where he says that.
They do grow because
They literally grow on every continent in the world. Like,
Like-
that's a fact.
like we said, it's
grown-
growing.
it's
It comes from the ground.
The
So
algae.
it comes from the ground. So obviously, we're
That's
in
not
Ireland. Now I'm not going to say the exact place because you're going to see every cunt now going fucking looking.
Well,
But we're exactly.
I tell you one thing, nobody's going to give you that location.
No one's going to
That's
give
not me.
no one's going to give you the location, but an exact
How
location.
What
Do you find them in like the mountains? Do you find them like so?
So like it matters. Like there's a big thing.
Tell
Mushrooms.
them
Are,
the exact opposite.
mushrooms are very intelligent. So like you have the. I sound like a scientist or something saying this, but this is just me being interested. That's the way I do it. Sounds fun. So it affects like they only grow at a certain time of the year. So it's a season. It's a ground at the end of October, September. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then September, October. So then you go. That's the time of the year. So that's obviously to do with climate. And then it's around. So you have to go up a certain height. Well, they grow
Altitude.
like they do grow. They grow on the ground in a park, but there's nothing in them. Don't be so good.
Gotta be stronger
The
at a certain
ones you want
altitude.
are so like picky. They're so like that is real. It's actually like they grow. Like when you go picking them, you can't really see them. But like say you're on the side of a mountain. Basically, the old spot is the side of the mountain where there has been sheep in, but the ground hasn't been walked on. So it's literally the soil found inside the mountain. We say like altitude matters, temperature matters, and what soil ground, what soil is on the ground. Right? Is the soil being used? It's still waterlogged. Like I picked them in puddles. I went and picked them and they've been in a puddle. And I went and picked them. Like, deadly, like you can still eat them. They're black, they're full of water and all, but like some people be scared. I was just don't give a rat's.
But this is the thing. These grow from the ground.
Yeah.
You swear these are made in a fucking shack.
The way that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
The way society judges them, they're bad.
They
It's
literally
How
come
do you
from
know
the-
you haven't even talked to them?
They
Like,
just
You eat fucking tomatoes, you rats.
They literally just come from the ground. The only difference is that they're just dried.
Yeah.
You have to
they
dry
grow
them.
from the ground, you enjoy them. You
They
check.
dried. That's the only difference.
You can go on the mountain, they go down the mountain, the same mountain, not tennis now.
We're not disclosing where you get your mushrooms. We're not going to be
found
feeding
the
them.
mountain because the sun's not them all day. That crispy dry on the mountain.
So it's done for you.
Still on the ground, still dry.
The job's
That
done.
is absolutely ideal.
The dirty work is done.
That's the man of the match with the grouse, that is.
You're going to be pale in 2 minutes.
That is like
The wind is they're so dry, you know, like that they hit you like a ton of bricks.
And it's a rare to get them as well.
Yeah, so like deadies.
They're rare, them, yeah.
And you can get them like you get them the same time of the year, a good day, like they'll all be like reasonably dry. Like,
What time of the year would you be able to say? What time of the year?
So the last I don't know what it's called. It's the season they obviously grow, but it's like 4 months. So from the end of September till the end of December. They grow for a while, but peak being the end of
You
October.
got some crisp ones at the weather today.
Yeah, I tell you one thing, you wouldn't be down there now, I wouldn't eat the mushrooms that come up there now. I went up and picked them and they're all like somewhere about that length. They're like that thick in the back of something. Like and they're all green and yellow and I like right, not eating that one.
They go, "Oh, yeah, fuck that."
That's not what I'm picking, like you're standing on it, I wouldn't get near them.
Andrew, have you ever had like mushrooms? Like obviously, have you had them
Not
for more,
natural
like,
ones
have you
from
had
the
them?
ground.
Just, no, so you've like,
Only truffles I've
so
had.
you've only tried truffles. So yeah, you've never
Yeah,
tried
yeah,
natural
yeah.
ones.
Never natural ones, no. Definitely on the books though.
Preference, natural.
I
Or
want to be doing natural ones just because.
The truffles are natural and truffles are natural.
They're natural,
They're
it's
just
just
not,
that,
they're just
yeah.
completely different potency levels. Like, so like the ones in the dried ones are just.
I think
as
it's
I said,
just known that it's from the ground, it's a natural thing. Like having looking at it in that sale bag, you're just like
Yeah, but that's the way
This
you get.
could be
That's the way you
heroin.
get dried
Yeah.
mushrooms. So like
Yeah.
if you were to go over to say really legalized. Denver's a big place for them in America.
I heard that's- I did, I
you can
did
win,
see
they're
that.
actually, I think they're nearly recreational. You can win and like, say you want to buy them, but I wouldn't say recreation because I don't think that's actually true. Everyone know about that.
Yeah.
I think it's like they're gone to so far in a point in Disney was that they're like genuinely been having. But I'm not that sneezing out to it there. Here's a lot of mushrooms. It's not like it's obviously not easy, but it's to a certain extent you need a raise.
Remember, it's like
testosterone.
Remember, I was waiting a bit medicinal weed, was
the
it?
cancer and all, they have in the balls.
Randy's, yeah.
Oh, it's like a
Randy Marsh with a bloke.
He's absolutely genius.
Randy Marsh! Right, for that now, we're going to get a picture of him up on this video again.
Randy Marsh.
I don't look like fucking Randy Marsh.
You look like Frank.
I'll let you have that one.
Very special boys.
What else do you have there for the boys?
Oh, so what else I was going to ask you? So, do you feel that it impacts your mental health, right? So I'm going to go with you first. Does
100%.
Does psychedelics impact your mental health in a good way or a negative way?
If you are in a good space or in a good place, and you do them with an intent to learn more about yourself, it'll be good. And you do it with a trusted friend in a location that you know well, so if you feel bad or you feel like shit, you can get yourself home quickly. You know, in a sort of way, you wouldn't want to be doing at a house party or whatever.
Okay.
Because you're going to be around people you don't know, you know what I mean? You're going to have that, like,
It's
you're looking at people, you're anxious.
a bunch of foxes around that
Exactly, yeah. You see a few foxes around.
Have you ever taken Tusi beer, man? You've definitely taken Tusi beer.
I haven't actually, no.
You want it.
So what's
Tusi beer is a tablet. It's a part. This is like going festival drug, I mean.
Okay, so
acid and mandy in a pill.
okay.
So you are leveled. But it's deadly because they come up with mandy. You get so acid. They said, like, come on, they're on. You're on some.
As you said, acid grabs you, mushrooms gently.
Mushrooms sink you, and they're like, yeah, man, come over here. Like,
And then the
acid's like, not really. Yeah.
So,
deadly,
like you said, would it affect your mental health in a good way or?
yeah.
But you said, I know you were saying it's impacted. Like obviously, you were saying
decision making and stuff like that.
and like you said earlier about eye contact.
Yeah, it
That's
changes deep levels of confidence in yourself. So yeah, kind of like genuinely, lads. Like I've ever since taking mushrooms for the first time, I haven't felt kind of like that I'm not able to do anything.
Okay.
Obviously, we're holding like bleeding, like we're holding I was like injured and you're scared, like I still hold back and stuff, whatever. Like say, friends, this is an example. This is how I notice it. Like obviously, like the last year or so has been probably the worst year for me. Like fitness wise, I haven't been at self something not self it's stuff like that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I haven't had to say, I haven't been down, I haven't gone flat as the way you want to be.
Yeah.
But like genuinely, I started taking mushrooms there about like say again more regularly than usually. Like I look at used to a few years ago. I'd start taking like say about 6 months ago. And now I'm like, I don't think I'll ever stop walking out.
Your tunnel vision there.
But it's not even like simply, that's just the mushrooms. Like now, I genuinely haven't even taken loads. I've just been like, right, I'm taking this as a serious intent to get me.
So you feel like it helps you out in a spiritual level?
I wouldn't even say it helped me, it genuinely elevated.
It elevated you.
Brought you to a new height. You're just looking that bit higher. Just like your head's up more. It's kind of like.
And this is even without taking mushrooms. Like even when you don't take mushrooms, you feel this aura.
No, like again, I'd be a confident person, like outgoing, but like mushrooms just
enhanced a little.
Mushrooms are on the trip, pointing everything, good, bad, wherever you want. Like they're pointing everything. Whereas whether you can control all of them, I think really.
So as you,
they can go in they can go into a bad trip. Like bad trips are thing. Like I don't think a bad trip is a thing. I think it's just a difficult trip.
that's good. That's good that you said
You're not
that.
sitting there. You're not sitting there. This is the worst thing. But like it's like now, like
It's a
if I
difficult
come
period.
through this, you're like Jesus. Like we've known people that've been like on a trip through the mountains and stuff and on acid, taking it and asking where their family is now. You're just like. About the waiting, I remember standing in the waiting phase, they're waiting phase. And some people are like, oh, I was talking to him after, and he was like, oh, I felt like I was just trapped in like a snow globe.
Yeah.
He felt like he was just in a snow globe because you're on the side of the mountain, so he was like, I felt like I was in a snow globe. Like.
So as you said, it's
But
not
that's
bad,
not a joke. Like, because like I just heard my name being called. I went down to him. I was like, kind of organised the whole thing, gave everyone everything. Fuck it, like down to rats. Like the people want to do it, they can do it. But like I will take the blame. If you want to blame me, you do. But I tell everyone like you're doing it yourself. Like. You know, I want you to have a good time and learn, but like not learn, but like have a good time and maybe learn something. Yeah. But I'm not like I'm sorry if it happens to you, but like this is I genuinely will try and help people to do it, regardless. Even that sounds ridiculous. Like I wouldn't push on anyone, but I'd always try and encourage one to do it because it'll teach you something you wouldn't even think you need to teach.
That's what we want to get across. that works for you. It's not going to work for everyone. And the only way to find out is with the small dose.
Well,
We're not
yeah,
promoting
weapon,
doing it.
I'm
What?
just a bit of a weapon down it. Like I just do it because like I'm just a bit mad. I genuinely like I know from speaking to people they wouldn't have done as much as I have. Like, not done as much as I have, but I do it in mad scenarios. When I'm in working situations where I'm like just going for a walk with the dog and all I do it. Like, you know, like if you're off in the day, you just feel like doing what you do it. And that's 100%. I don't know. I'm not even afraid to say like I genuinely do. It's fucking deadly. A little buzz around.
So, as I said, it works for different people. People affects people differently. So I want to ask you just one more question, right, before we conclude, right? So Andy, you first. Would you recommend psychedelics to like an average viewer? Would you recommend somebody to take them? Definitely.
100%. But if you're going through shit, do your research, get through that. Then,
As we said to them,
That's fine.
do the research about it.
Yeah.
Don't just take our word for it and take the lads' word. Look into it yourself before you start doing
There's
it.
people on
we
YouTube
know.
who will teach
This
you
is
how to
experience from this.
know if you're going to do things.
Same with that, and you'll only learn by doing it yourself.
So
They
basically,
also not to be messed with. Like you shouldn't just do it.
Yeah.
Just to try.
It's not like having a shower.
I know I actually didn't say that. Like I say that like you just don't do it. Deadly. Let's try them. Like genuinely think like right before I do this, where just gonna put me?
The outcome.
Where am I gonna be? Like in the middle of this trip.
yeah.
Do I think I'm out? Everything like when I go on any trip, I'd be thinking back like, what do I have any plans? Is anyone gonna ring me? Like stuff.
Yeah, you're actually
Oh,
thinking
like,
about it.
on the
Yeah.
mountain, right? And only had to hit me, and I got a phone call from my boss on one of the old jobs, and I was just like, just chatting to him, and I was just like, just around there, talking about serious stuff. So you just don't really be doing that.
Yeah,
It's like I just recommend leaving your phone to the side. Just experience yourself.
Phones on
rather than being stimulated, just go
It's not like a drunk conversation.
That's a really good one to land on.
Would
It's
you?
not like a buzz. They're kind of just on a wave where you're just like you don't even care, man.
Yeah.
Like you genuinely, we were in Amsterdam like in the month of times went, and the hottest day of the year in 40 years it was. It's 34 degrees. I was walking around in flip flops, no top on, on the shelves. Cabbage as well. Like, we walk around on the shelves and you're in a park, and you're just like the sun and all these things play a role. It's like, especially food. If you don't eat one of them. I wouldn't eat one of them empty stomach unless like definitely not the first time unless it's like. Because they hit you straight away and they hit you harder. 100%.
So would you recommend it to a viewer?
I would. I would if I was like, as I said, like don't just eat them because I'm telling you to, like just.
Under supervision as well.
We were
Mushrooms, all psychedelics are perceived to be bad.
Yeah.
Taking them, do a bit of research and open your mind to it before you eat them.
Absolutely.
Before you take them, because you're not gonna. You go into it being like it's bad. Like they're trying to do that because they don't want to take them. In that sense, it's a high up, but like this and that. But there's a reason they're not available anywhere.
Yeah,
yet they're around longer than humans. They have never killed anyone.
Yeah.
Just like it's as you can see, it's all fabricated.
And you said off camera as
The
well.
reason no one talks about it is it's not allowed to be spoken. Years ago, it wasn't allowed to be spoken about. No.
Yeah.
It's taboo if you will.
And
And then if some person who goes to a festival tries LSD or whatever, they haven't done anything about it, they just bought it off some randomer. They're going to do that and come back in the shitballs because they're looking at people all day in a camping chair, look at them.
And then they're going to spread that and say it's shit.
Yeah.
No.
And everyone's going to be like, oh, well, my brother did LSD, it was terrible, it was this and that. They do his research, was he in a safe place?
Yeah.
If you have an intention, guarantee you, every person who has had a bad trip, including myself, the intention was correct, but I was going through something and I didn't know where I was. Like, I didn't know how to get home from the location I was in. So, not just only was I going through something mentally, was fresh after a few months. So it was like something that I should have been over and done with, like over the shoulder. Wouldn't even think about it. It was like something like that, but it was like it took me 6 months to get over it. So I was in a bad space, I was anxious and all this. So if you want to do a psychedelic, don't do it if there's something that you think like something in your life, from being like normal or 100% yourself. Give it time, give yourself time, recover from whatever it is. Then when you're fresh and you're not thinking about it, last thing you think before bed, you know what I mean? It's like a psychedelic trip can be like it'll either, I think with shrooms, a psychedelic trip can remove those thoughts before you sleep, if you get me.
Yeah.
But LSD, I mean, if you have something on your mind, you can like almost project that in your visual aspects of it. Like it's a bit weird.
Now, am I right in saying our parent generations, they obviously look bad on psychedelics?
Oh, of course.
All
But
sorts
that's
of
not any
things.
drug.
That's just.
They've
It's
been
just the
indoctrinated.
media.
That's the
just
media, but
way
now look at us now.
They see it. Like your man not a bad person because they think that. Like they're just being brainwashed. Think that.
Now look at us now, we're talking about it, we're having an open conversation. We have our good experience, have our bad, and a lot of people do, but in 20, 30 years' time, to your kids, we obviously won't be talking this bad. We obviously won't be looking down.
And you have to consider the bad side of it.
Yeah, obviously you got to consider the bad side,
On
but
the edge.
we'll be more open to talk to about our kids. And be more to say, right, look, we tried it.
We get them on the right edge. They can know that when you think they can understand it, tell them. I think that's not happening. Like, it's not.
You don't teach our kids about
We
sex or
will deal with it better, I think, in 20 years time than our parents.
It would be definitely
More open. Right, boys, last few minutes. We want to get a bit of sense of humour to this. Tell us a story. Mark, we'll start with you. Good story when you're riding on mushroom or LSD, you tell us which one.
when you were tripping down on the surround tree.
On the surrounds, right?
So me and 4 humans, me and 3 humans went to them. And we obviously fucking done the plenty of times, so obviously great grand, they'll have the strongest ones. Deadly, like, honestly later, eating them and all, but before we ate them, as I was eating mine, it was like the lads didn't eat all theirs.
Yeah, he can't.
So they didn't eat all theirs, so I was like, yeah, it was, what are you eating them, they're fucking grand.
Right.
So they all had a quarter left, I'd say, each. So them 3 of them had a quarter left each.
You
So
had
they
a
had
box.
a box and 3 quarters, right? So the strongest and then a mixture of all different ones.
How would you
That's
eat
what-
all
That's
them?
what, man, you
How would you
still
store
answering that question. I was
Honestly,
walking around eating, like, so you get in a plastic box and then the bags inside. So you crack open the seal of the plastic box, open the plastic, and I just poured them into the box and just picking big peanuts. Stop pitching the phone now. And just
Stinky
pitching
cardboard.
it like that. And it's like eating, like, do you ever get so close to the grass and you're doing like a walkout and you get the taste in it? You can smell the grass.
That's
now.
something the gaff
That's like, it's actually like that.
Ground.
Genuinely wrong. That proper
Ground,
ground. Muck, yeah. Even the dry ones are those. But they're in the dam. And I had eaten all them and got the tickets. And you're walking down the road and I'm like, we're all eating up and all the feeling. You feel it from the ground up in the back of your legs like that. Then got in the zoo, got my ticket and all fresh. As soon as I walked through the gate of the zoo, I just feel like a little like, what's up, Mark? And my stomach goes. I was just like, don't start messing. I was like, in my head, I was like, this can't be happening. Like, I mean, I wasn't even worried, I was just like, can't walk, we're going to be a signal straight away. But then I started like, kind of going like, man, trippy and all, I was like that, kind of like just a bit, getting a bit dizzy and I don't feel it. Like people, like, you know when you look straight ahead of you, somewhere, anywhere in town and it's packed, you just see heads. Head after head, after person after person. Look, like that in the zoo, packed. And you're walking up, there's this big huge cage, so it's about, I don't know how far away it is, I'd say about 60 feet away from you. Right? You walk in the front gate, it's a big huge cage.
I know, I've seen the one, yeah.
With boards in the room. I never actually get into detail of this. So walking up and I was feeling imagine, and I was just like that, like something like that. I was just like, I'm sitting there and dancing and I'm walking, so is this, deadly, I'm moving fresh and all. Got to a tree and I was just like that. Like heaving, right? And as you got to see, as I walking, there's a bin, like say, like just over there. Right, walking forward, just over there, just walking the gate, lads are there. I just went that. I was like, I'm walking towards the bin, I got sick. So as I got sick, I put through the pot into the bin.
Oh, directing it.
And the kids were underneath it, and I was like, the salary people in the sales was that. And we got in the sick, went the blade, got out of the ground, I didn't go on
Young for his head.
The man got highlights, he did his head. I was up on the tree, I was like that, getting sick again. And I was just having my eyes closed in, and I was just like that for about, like, solid 15 minutes. No, what would happen for 15 minutes? It felt like 15 minutes on my eyes closed for, I was like, ew.
Felt like 15
I was like that, I was
minutes.
just like this, and I was like, and I just looked up, and it sounds like everything on our just settled, I was like, grand, cracking on, and I just had to stick all over me, I was only voice and all. I was on my runners and all, and I was just like, I was walking around blading the damn with this now, so I was like that in the train, but I lifted my head up, and you know when you get embarrassed now, and you're like, fuck, I get sick in the zoo, whatever. I just had the train, just no blading the ego, so I just looked around, like, everyone in the eye like that. Just staring, I was just like, I felt man proud of myself.
Look what I just did.
I looked around now and I just like looked around at everyone now, like everyone's just like, damn, like it's not all like obviously we're all the what would you call us? What's the word we're looking for? That's how these guys. Not foreigner in the country, what would you call it?
Yeah.
Gringo. A gringo. Man, we were tourists, so I just felt like you think that you'd be proud of it, usually be proud of like, what the next thing about other people. I was just staring at them. And as I just looked at everyone, it brought me attention across the whole zoo, and about 100 yards in the distance, I just see all who was on the ground crying, lad. And I just looked at them and was like, this is not the making my holiday, like, this is brilliant device. That's what the funniest thing I was on the zoo. But as I got sick, right? So it fell out, wherever I got sick, as this got sick, nearly hit someone, nearly had like kid, it went in the bin. The second time I got sick, it like, off the ground. Johnny could hit
Splashback?
No, just slapped off the ground. Like, now he hears, because it was with the book case, all he hears, so I literally drew more attention to me, and I was just there. And that's what everyone was laughing at. And I just grew up, and I was like, that honestly couldn't have went worse. It was the best movie we
Did he
looked
give
at.
comments?
Yeah, because I was shrouded out.
Remember, a mate of mine once told me his dad went out with one of his friends, right? And one of them was wearing a really crystal white shirt. Like they were on like it was like a
Stags.
Stags, like, yeah, and they went to Amsterdam. They did the stream throwing the fella into his white shirt. Went to their jacks and drinking all day. And this fella drinking Guinness all over a different country. Like, it's not going to go well.
No, absolutely not.
It's a mistake to make in the first place. Where you have your last pint before your trip. And you think to yourself, well, the plane crashes and still had a sup of Guinness before they went. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know what I mean? That's just my mentality anyway.
Yeah.
What, was it shrouded and all that stuff?
No. Before you go on a plane, have a pint of Guinness.
That's actually a
Had a great last hour.
But
A
see,
great last hour.
see when you were saying that, this is remind me, see when I was saying I took them going on the plane before and all that. Like, I remember one of the lads was winding us up and all, and he was like, oh yeah, what if the plane crashes? And I went, yeah, the plane crashes, we'd be on a lovely bus and you'd be on a tour bus. And he was just like, no, I didn't look now, I actually didn't look now. But it's obviously you don't want that to happen, but I was just like, that just reminded me of that. You don't want that to happen, but I was like,
That's
nah.
a shell.
Because he's like, yeah, I had a good Guinness. I was like, yeah, we'd be on a lovely bus though.
Yeah.
Well, do we? Would it be deadly?
This fella with his mates and all this goes to the jacks, obviously they're like shy himself in the toilet.
Oh, lovely.
And so he gets tissue, right, but he puts in his hand. Since he's tripping, and all you really see on like shrooms, from my experience anyway, is like if you've got one colour on your hand here, you're just gonna see that one colour. If you're like tripping bad. But then you go back out of that and then you can be like, alright, it's my hand, you know, you can see it. If you look in the distance, you can see there's like a kind of green tint there on the
neck,
on the astron, the blue there. That would like all be kind of like a weird fucking rainbow kind of.
Yeah, mix between them, would it?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, the colours would mix.
It's now lines basically.
Yeah.
Mashed.
Yeah, you're like looking at a prison. Like this fella with the tissue in his hand, he actually wiped his arse like a slave.
Oh, it's white.
Yeah.
Oh my
So
god.
he walks out of the toilet and his face like, what's that smell? He goes, he's still got the tissue in his hand, I'm pretty sure. But the tissue was spotless from what I was
And it's on a slave.
Spotless, yeah, I was fucking slave.
The way you clean it without junkies.
Yeah, like,
That's a
I'm
good
pretty sure he got one of them to get scissors and they cut around and
Into a big short sleeve.
Yeah, pretty much.
Right, last question of the day, boys. Would you recommend it?
Yeah.
Would you recommend someone
Yeah,
to do it?
definitely.
Just something to try, isn't it? That's
right.
what you Glenn.
Key things you need to take in. You need to do your research.
Research, always research.
You need to have a good mindset.
Yeah, and you need to have a good source.
There you go.
So if you're getting in the oil, you need to have, like, you need something reliable. Like, you don't want to be, like, not that. The thing is, you don't get, like, see the way you get all these drugs now and you get sniffing absolutely danced on. You don't know what's in it. Obviously, sniff is like a completely different story with bad for you and stuff like that. It's horrible. But basically, you can't fake mushrooms.
Right.
You know what I mean? So if someone's giving you shrooms, they're genuine. So, like, I'm just saying, get it from a good source and just make sure you talk to them about it and say, like, don't just go, so if some fella takes your phone, random number, whatever. We have mushrooms there, don't say you around that, because, like, you'd be the end of you. You know what I mean?
Would you also say as well, don't have an ego going into it? Just
you
take
can't
small doses.
you can't turn your ego off. I'm saying, like,
No, but just small doses. Don't get too big headed and middle.
Yeah, you have to have it, what would you call it, a safe, like a human like idea of it. You don't want to go in and be like, oh no, we'll be grand on this.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You don't want to go big
No,
headed
the way
thing.
to be like,
Jocks off.
this is gonna be, I'm gonna be completely different for a few hours.
So, to conclude, obviously, right, so I came in here today and we've had a very long conversation, we were talking stories. I was completely impartial on all this. Obviously, I done my research beforehand, the history of LSD, so I can get any questions and stuff like that. Looking back on it, I'm glad we had this conversation. If you were to ask me, would I try it? This is the golden question.
Would you try it after hearing the knowledge you've heard from the boys and the experiences?
Like literally the points you just said, I'd do my research, but I think I'd have to be in a good mindset and I'd have to be in a safe place with somebody I trust.
What confidence?
I wouldn't, me personally, this is just me, I wouldn't touch LSD.
Ever.
I don't think.
Mate,
I
I know plenty of people that wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
I don't
I'd
think
try
I would.
mushrooms. I don't think I'd try LSD.
I don't think I'm gonna hear
Mushroom, it's a big chunk.
I'd recommend psychedelics, so which one would I recommend the most would be shrooms.
Shrooms.
So
So
safest one
try
to
shrooms,
take-
I'd recommend.
we'll pick a date, lads. We'll try
Yeah, like
shrooms.
most people who do
Just the buzz.
LSD, they've had some mad experiences. People with shrooms, like I mean, they've had fucking hilarious experiences, but they've gotten so much personal benefit from it.
Yeah.
But with acid, like, I mean, there's more risk than reward there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Just
Because
because
it's
it's so,
someone-
it's because it's so abrupt.
So intense.
It
People
just hits
did,
you like a brick.
if I bumped into Mark on acid, right? I'd be like, I'm LSD. You know, I know Mark's on psychedelics. Like, oh, right, cool, yeah, well, you enjoy that. How'd you feel? You know, you look after it, you
Oh
know.
my god, and that happy you just.
Yeah,
it's
if you bump into
gone.
someone on
You
LSD, it's
yeah.
like, hey, someone who doesn't do that sort of shit, or is just completely just like, you know, they like their drink, they love their coke, they don't have a clue about any of that.
Yeah.
They'd be like, alright, cool, so what are you up to right now? What are you doing? It's like, yeah, I'm actually in a trip right now. Like, what are you on?
Just
It's
keep
like,
asking
really?
questions.
Oh, guard. No, people would like to make it
Then
hard.
your head's
So
gone.
make sure there's someone with you.
Of course.
So
So
make
that's
sure there's someone with you if you're ever doing that.
And this is just the disclaimer, just to everybody, just who's watching. This isn't an advertisement to say do psychedelics.
Out, man, anyway.
This is absolutely not, and I'm just putting it out
Just
there.
want to get knowledge across what's
Nah, just
involved.
put
Something
it in
that's
there,
not spoken
that's
about.
It's not spoken about at all or anything else, and that's what we hope you do learn some, because there was a lot of good things shared upon, and as we said, we're not promoting
You
it.
get someone on here that is like, I hate them.
As I said,
But we're not promoting it. We just want you to know.
we're not normalising say yeah, do it. We're normalising having a conversation
We're
about it
recognising it.
and recognising it because
Yeah.
it's out there. You know what I mean?
Lads, massive thank you for coming on.
Thanks
Oh,
for having me.
that's-
It's good.
You was happy with everything we covered?
Absolutely.
Enlightened.
There you go. That's episode 4. That'll be live on Spotify and YouTube in the next
Loyal.
few days. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Glenn, see them out.
Thank you and good night.
Lovely, lad, boys.